Alright, so here I am in Mudbox. This is my jack-o'-lantern Maya to 3D print again. What I'm doing is I started with a very simple polygonal mesh out of polygons using Autodesk Maya, and now I'm going to be in Mudbox and taking that very simple mesh and trying to make a small little jack-o'-lantern pumpkin that has an inner wall thickness and it has a little stem on it. And so I'm going to bring in that model now that I just finished and look at it, make sure I didn't screw something up, and make sure that it's going to work properly. And I don't know, well, hopefully I think everything is good as far as I can tell. So I'm going to go and open this file. I need to go into my project folder here and go to my scene file for my jack-o'-lanterns. I have it in my OBJs because I exported it out from Maya as an OBJ. It says that it doesn't have it has an incomplete UV set because I didn't make UVs, and I'm gonna keep this mesh and I'll have it make its UVs for me. Currently I have mirroring on. I'm going to turn that off. And so here is my basic little pumpkin here. I'm going to go ahead and have it make my UVs. I'm going to have it create UVs for me. I'm going to replace them. Just use that. Okay, so in general, I'm in Mudbox looking at this. Everything looks okay. For the most part, I have wall thickness. I don't have any errors. If I had like walls that did not have or faces with 0 length, I would have bright red error indicators on here that would show me something was wrong. But from what I can tell, everything looks to be okay. And so what I'm going to do is simply add some divisions, because right now I have 1900 total polys right now. I have inner, inside, and outside mesh plus these that were extruded out. And so, of course, I always want to make sure I'm working with layers, because I'm going to be working with my sculpting tools. I'm just going to be using sculpt tools, and I'm simply going to either be pushing or pulling my geometry. I'm going to tone down my... So for instance, at this lowest level, if I was to sculpt on my model, I can pull that geometry up and around as much as I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my model resolution by hitting Shift D, and you'll be able to see if I have displayed the wireframe so that I can see the wires as I start to subdivide them. So I'm going to hit Shift D, and notice that it makes I have 7,600 polys, and if I did it again, Shift D, I would get 30,000 polys. Now the object with this is to simply take these holes and begin to distort them and to do things with them. So if I was trying to sculpt a face on this, what I would want to do is make a new layer, and it's on this particular level, sculpt layer, my sculpt layer 1, and I'm going to name this, I'm going to just work around the eyes first. It's going to be a eyebrow. Alright, so just to kind of give you an idea, if I hold down my space bar, and if I hold down my space bar, I have some options here. I can control my left mouse. I can control the size and the strength of my model. It's lagging on me. Here's the size of my. Supposed to be the size. My size is actually at 0, so it's not showing it to me very well by doing that. So I'm going to change my size manually here, and my strength, my size is still pretty darn strong, or pretty big. here, if I drag back and forth, so I'm holding down my space bar and choosing my size of my brush, and I can choose the strength of my brush by bringing down these values. It's lagging, so it's giving me a little trouble. So I'm going to give myself a strength of 1, and I'm going to see what that looks like if I go in and just say grab some of this mud. So thinking of this as a piece of clay. Now if I wanted to do this uniformly, let's say I wanted to start to distort my model, I can mirror it across X. So whatever I grab over here, it grabs, if I want to make an angry kind of thing, or a cry. Now this is the kind of thing, if I have too much resolution, meaning if I've got too many faces there, it can cause me to have too much, if I have too much faces, I won't get a broad enough kind of look. So what I might do is see if I can add some of these basic details on a lower subdivision level. So I'm going to go page down to my lower level, and then I can make a new layer for that layer, because this is on layer 2. This will be on layer 1. This will be low poly eye shape. And so the idea is that you're going to be working at a lower level. So this is going to give me an easier kind of way to pull my geometry and get those shapes the way that I want. So I'm going to do an angry eye kind of look, which is a lot easier to do with my polygons being much lower resolution. And so if I do this, and what's nice is when it's low like this, I can pull this geometry out a little bit more, pull these pull these shapes out. Now again, this is where I would want to make sure that I am saving my model frequently. I'm going to save scene, and this is where I'd want to go in and make my own. In my scene file, I'd make a new mudbox folder, and in there I would keep this. This is just how I do it. You can obviously organize it however you like, but I got to keep these things organized in my head and in Maya. And so what I can do is I can push and pull this geometry around, and I want to pull out the nose a little bit. So I'm going to move it at a different angle. Undo that and pull it out right here. And I can pull it out right here and here. So if I want to bring that nose out, down a little, I can. Bring some of this down. Now of course this is going to be completely up to you what the actual shape of your character is going to look like. But you want to have some kind of facial features for him. Pull this up, pull this up. And then if I wanted to, I'm going to pull the corners of his mouth down, pull up some of his again, it's kind of like working with clay here. And I kind of got to decide, I've got to decide if, what I'm doing is working right at this resolution or not. If I'm getting too much pointy edges, I might, obviously I want to keep track of that. I don't want to have to go back too much. But if I did make a mistake, and I want to change that, I'm actually putting too much information on this one layer, because if I make a mistake down the road, I want to be able to go back. So I would work on, say, just the eyes on this layer. And so it's easy to kind of going a little too far, too fast on your model. So I'd probably just work on my eyes on this particular layer. And if I was happy with that, I might smooth that out a little bit, go down, smooth that out. The strength of 100 is a little bit much. And I want to just go and smooth out my edges a little. I want to keep the shape there, but I don't want to blow out my geometry too much. I keep hitting the wrong button. So I might go back, sculpt some more. I'm using this block. I don't want that. I want a nice, I don't want any stamps or stencils on. I just want a nice round shape on my object. Pull this down. Oops. Sculpt this. Oops, I'm grabbing it. And I'm just going to, if I increase the shape of my, oops, increase the size of my brush a little bit, it's going to move more of my geometry, so I can really grab and move things around as much as I like. There we go. I'm going to do something like that, and then I'm going to make a layer for the nose. My nose low poly, and I'm going to make that. I'm going to make this my brush a little bit smaller. I don't want too fine a detail, but I don't want. There we go. I got to make them look a little more evil. A lot of angles make evil. Alright, so I've scrunched that down. I might tweak the corners of his eyes a little bit more. Something like this. Maybe pull these up a little bit more. Alright, now I shouldn't have done that on layer, but I did. And now I'm going to go with the mouth. And I want to make the mouth frown a little bit more. I'm going to pull this down, push this up a bit. Oops, not in the back, just here. Pull up the bottom lip a little. There we go. Alright. Let me pull this down a little bit more. Alright, so there's kind of my pumpkin on that low level here. If I was happy with that, I would save scene with my base mesh, kind of like my low level my low poly version. I thought I said save scene as. I thought that would bring that up. I'm going to go level 2, and I'll tell it what it is. And I'll say low poly shape done. And now I'm going to go ahead and go up to the next level. So I'm going to say, since I'd already set my divisions, I'm going to page up. And now notice how things start to smooth out a little bit. This is my highest level. Now here I can add more details, a little bit more details to my model. I can start thinking about maybe adding more actual surface to it. So maybe I'm going to bulk up around the eyes a little bit. So I'm going to say bulk eyes, and I'm going to go to my sculpt, and then here's where I can kind of add to it. Now that's a little bit much, and I'm going to turn my strength down a little bit, 0.5, and this is in the size of my brush. I'm going to bring it down. Go here, pull that down a little bit. What I'm going to do is just kind of go around the eyes a little bit and bring out those eyebrows. Oh, that's too much. Strength needs to be way down, like 0.05. I'm going to bulk out those eyes right here. Bring out the brow region. I'm going to bring out the brow a little bit more.